War in Ukraine has been going on for 7 days now. Russia is shelling civilians. More than 2,000 civilian Ukrainians have died since the Russian invasion. 16 children were born in the bomb shelter of the Kyiv Institute of Obstetrics, Pediatrics and Gynecology. Ukraine does not give up and continues to fight on all fronts. The bombing of the central TV tower in Kiev killed 5 people. The bomb fell on Babyn Yar. Numerous victims of different nationalities are buried there. They were killed by the German occupiers during the Second World War. According to a poll by the rating group, an absolute majority of Ukrainians believe in victory over Russia, and 80% of citizens are ready to defend Ukraine with weapons. This is a podcast, UA, the day that we survived. Ukrainian journalists have come together to create it with ordinary people who record themselves and send us audio about their everyday experiences. World leaders warned us about the threat of a full-scale Russian war against independent Ukraine. Frankly, most Ukrainians could not believe it. How on earth can a democratic state be attacked in 2022? The day before the fighting started, everybody was working, visiting shopping malls and buying vacation tickets. But Russia has started a brutal war, and this war is against the whole civilized world. Kateryna lives in the Odessa region, not far from the Black Sea. On the first day of the attack, she woke up from the explosions and started to pack a survival kit. She did not do it in advance, though, because up until the last moment, she did not believe in war.
My mother and I quickly gathered the children, loaded the necessary things into the car, took our cat and dog with us and went to our native village in the north of Odessa region. My husband stays at home. He is a doctor and a conscript, and he does not even think about leaving home. We have been here in the village for several days now. Thanks to God, everything is quiet and peaceful here. The only thing that scares me is that Transnistria is close to the village. And when it gets dark, I get scared. But the silence around does not calm down at all, only arouses even more anxiety. My eldest daughter turned 6 on February 27. I explained her that the war had begun. I tried to explain to her as simply and easily as possible what was happening, why we had to move, why we were all scared now. That her mother is here, her mother would protect her, her mother would do everything to make sure she is all right. I don't know, however, if everything will be all right. I can only believe in it and try not to show my fear to children. I try to hold on, although it's very difficult, given that my 83-year-old grandmother is in Kiev now. There is a lot of my friends there now, my classmates, my group mates, many of them with small children. The fact that they are there and I'm here in relative safety makes me feel guilty. But despair now is the last thing. I believe that the power is in the truth, and the truth is with us, so everything will be fine.
Rebecca from Great Britain, on the other hand, left the capital a few days before hostilities started, as her country's embassy recommended. She was holding off on going abroad and decided to continue teaching in Lviv. This was where she faced war.
So I just took my dog. I had like 30 kilo with me. I had my dog and I just walked. And I was walking, and it was just siren and silence and siren and silence. And I met a Ukrainian young girl on the street, and she's like, "Why are you here? Like, come with me to the shelter." And she managed to explain to me exactly what they what we're meant to do, like where we're meant to go, and also how we should find out this information on the news, because in English news it says nothing. We waited just for the signs to stop, jumped in the car, and we drove. As we were driving, it was just terrible trying to contact people from Kyiv. We got to Romania, a border, There were many people walking, also with young babies and things, and it was just impossible to get through. We were there for 11 hours. It was freezing. So luckily for us, we were able to get a taxi to a local village where a lovely Ukrainian family decided they would host us. So we waited a day, and we went again to the border. We made friends with a young family, a young boy, his sister and his mother. And they just left their father, and the young boy was quite upset. And I'm a teacher, so I had a chat to him, and we were talking about history and geography and anything to keep him occupied. And eventually in this line, this family got pulled through, and we were meant to wait much longer because, we're dogs, we're not priority. I understand that. We didn't want to be priority. We just needed to know that we could get through that day. But this family, they spoke to the guards and they said, we want to take these, that come through. So we were taken in, and it was just amazing they did that, because they really didn't have to. And just like the people, we've been helped by nearly every single Ukrainian person that we've met on the way. A Romanian too. We got here and we've been staying with people that take refugees, and we've been fed, we've been looked after. We don't need it as much, I'm fine, and my friend is fine, and my dog is fine, but many aren't. And yeah, what can you say other than fuck Putin? Fuck Putin. But I'll be back to Ukraine to help as much as I can. I just hope the people stay, and they stay strong, because I love it there. Yeah. Slava Ukraini.
Since the beginning of the war, 80,000 people have returned to Ukraine, mostly men. They arrived to join the armed forces, military formations, and territorial defense units. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky called on foreign nationals who want to join the defense of security in Europe and the world to enlist to the International Legion of Territorial Defense of Ukraine. Volunteers from Canada, the United States, France, Georgia, Japan and Sweden responded to Ukrainians' call.
Вони брехали, що не будуть чіпати цивільне населення. Але з перших годин вторгнення російські війська б'ють по цивільній інфраструктурі. Вони свідомо обрали так.
Fighting is going on in the east, north and south of Ukraine. Some Ukrainian cities are occupied. The Ukrainian Railway Company has appealed to the International Committee of the Red Cross to provide a green corridor to evacuate civilians in Volnovakha. The city is plagued by a humanitarian catastrophe. After several days of bombing by Russian troops, it is blocked by the enemy, and it is impossible to deliver provisions, water or medicine there. Situation around Kyiv is difficult. Fighting continues in the city of Bucha, located a few kilometers away from the Ukrainian capital. Here is what Vita says about the evacuation from Kyiv.
First day of war. I woke up at 2 a.m. because my colleague was calling. She was begging me to leave Kyiv. I woke up my husband and asked him, what should we do? Should we leave or should we stay? We decided to stay. And at 5:30, we woke up because of, very, very strong noise like a bombing. We woke up. We have just 15 minutes to grab our kids and go to the car and left the city. I was waking up my kids saying, woke up, wake up, the war has started. I was not crying, I was just shocked. I took only a pair of jeans and shoes, that's it. I have nothing to wear, but that's not an issue. We spent more than one hour and a half driving 10 kilometers from Kiev. There are so many cars on the road. But afterwards we understood that people face problem with gas. We saw the row 1-2 kilometers that people were willing to get some gas at the gas station. So we drive more than 12 hours to get to the western part of Ukraine. And for the first time we drive without any music. without even listening to the radio. It was like nobody was saying nothing. And sometimes I turn on the radio to listen what's going on. So that was first day of war.
Alexander, who is currently staying in the city with his father, tells us about the situation in the capital.
So, the situation is as follows. My father and I are in Kiev now. The atmosphere here is very anxious and tense, but everything is comparatively calm. There is no shooting, but there are traces of destruction and anti-tank barricades. Many of our people are armed. They observe everything, check everyone, and so on. My dad has a bakery. Yesterday and the day before yesterday, he had some bread left. So we distributed it for symbolic price, only to cover the cost of flour. My mother and brother are now in my grandmother's village, but there is no connection with them because the electricity is cut off. It seems that everything is fine. We got in touch with them yesterday once. It is unclear what will happen next. There are lots of queues near shops, no bread. My dad's workers are afraid to go out to work now. Maybe we will make small batches of bread ourselves. Dad negotiates with people who are ready to work. We will bake on our own.
The enemy keeps advancing in the Sumy region. Here is a fragment of the speech of Artem Semenihin, the mayor of Ternopil. He notes that Russian troops who entered the city issued an ultimatum to local authorities.
They set conditions for us now. If we start to defend, they blow up the city with artillery. If you're not for it, we will fight. Who is for fighting? Of course, fight! Take out women with children and fight! Wait, listen, who is for fighting? I am for fighting. All of us are making this decision because artillery is aimed at us.
At the same time, the International Court of Justice has scheduled a hearing on Ukrainian's lawsuit against Russia. It will be held on March 7-8. The plaintiff alleges that Russia's justification for the invasion, allegedly to prevent genocide, is misleading. Julia and Kate were able to get from Kiev to the Ternopil region. Kate is the first to speak.
If you're talking about emotional states, I think I kind of lost track of days a bit, and what I can do, how I can help. So there are a lot of channels, chats, and initiatives, but sometimes I'm just sitting and thinking about nothing, and realizing myself that I'm doing and thinking nothing at that time, and what I was doing, how I'm lost a bit in this situation, trying to even work a bit, but because of air raids, these sirens, sometimes my work stopped.
Julia is originally from Donetsk and has already experienced nearly the same.
I can say that I'm originally from Donetsk, and I kind of got used to this kind of things already. I forgot a little bit how it feels, but I think many people before in Ukraine, they were asking me what was this experience like, so how was it, and how we were, bombed, and now everybody understands. This is a very, very sad, and I'm sorry for my a sense of humor, but we can't survive with this kind of jokes here now. So I hope that very soon we will drink champagne from Art Winery. This is in Donetsk Oblast. This is the best champagne in Ukraine. So we will drink it on Donetsk main square, because you've never been, Katya, right? Yeah, Katya's never been to Donetsk, so we have to fix it. Hopefully, we believe that this will happen.
So Ukraine will won. Stay safe for now,
and Russian warship go to that direction where our defenders sent you.
Yeah.
And all the occupants. Bye.
The second round of negotiations with Russia will take place in the evening. Delegations will remain the same. Will sanctions help to stop the war? Russian companies and businessmen have already lost tens of billions of dollars due to the atrocious war against Ukraine. According to Ukrainian Forbes, between the 23rd of February and the 1st of March, the largest Russian companies lost from 14 to 66% of their value. The total wealth of the 30 richest Russians fell to $75.5 billion, or almost 20%. The European Union is disconnecting 7 Russian banks from the SWIFT system and banning citizens and companies from transferring euros to Russia. Ukrainians continue to defend their state.